The man behind the survival mask. The camera slowly pans across a deserted island off the coast of Wales. The cutting wind whips the black rocks while freezing waves break furiously against the cliffs. It's here, in this remote piece of land without electricity, without running water, isolated from everything and everyone, that one of the most famous men on the planet lives. Are you enjoying this story, Wild Bear Grylls? Then help the channel with your subscription. Look, 94.8% of the people who watch these videos are still not subscribed to the channel. If you are part of that group, take the chance and subscribe now. It's free, and that way you'll keep receiving amazing stories from TV shows we still miss. Oh, and don't forget, at the end of the video, you'll find more stories like this one. A man whose name has become synonymous with extreme adventure, with human limits overcome, with impossible survival. But what nobody tells you is that this same man, every morning, wakes up feeling the same pain that has haunted him for almost 30 years. A pain that should have killed him, a pain that almost destroyed his dreams, a pain that has become part of who he is. Bear Grylls wasn't born with that name. He was born Edward Michael Grylls in 1974 in Northern Ireland, son of a British conservative politician involved in corruption scandals that stained the family name forever. His father, Sir Michael Grylls, was exposed in the infamous Cash for Questions scandal of 1996, revealing that he accepted illegal payments from lobbyists. Young Edward grew up in the shadow of this controversy, but it was his sister Laura who gave him the nickname that would change everything when he was just 1 week old, Bear. As if somehow she knew that this fragile baby would become something fierce, wild, impossible to tame. At 21 years old, Bear Grylls was at the peak of his life. Trained by the SAS, the British Special Forces, he was a modern warrior, specialized in parachuting, hand-to-hand combat, and jungle survival. Until everything changed in a single second over the skies of Africa. It was 1996, Zambia. A routine parachute jump, 15,000 feet altitude. At 4,000 feet, he pulled the cord. The familiar sound of the parachute opening, but when he looked up, his heart froze. The parachute was tangled, deformed, a nightmare of twisted fabric and cords. He was falling toward death. The impact was brutal. His body hit the ground with enough force to break 3 vertebrae in his spine, punctured lung, broken ankle. Doctors were direct. He might never walk again. His dream of conquering Everest was dead. His military career finished. His future destroyed. He was 21 years old and broken physically and emotionally. But Bear Grylls doesn't know how to give up. 12 months of torturous rehabilitation, rebuilt muscles, bones welded with metal rods, constant, relentless pain that would never leave him. He made a promise to himself while relearning to walk. He would climb Everest, not despite the pain, because of it. 18 months after the accident that should have killed him, on May 16, 1998, at 23 years old, Bear Grylls was on top of the world. He became one of the youngest Britons to reach the summit of Mount Everest, conquering 8,849 meters of altitude with 3 fused vertebrae and chronic pain that made each step feel like an eternity. During the climb, he almost died again. He and his climbing partner found themselves hanging precariously over an ice crevasse after a bridge collapsed. Swinging over the abyss, he had to use all his calm to descend the ice wall and escape. But he survived. And when he touched the summit, something inside him changed forever. Fame came like an avalanche. But it was in 2006 that everything exploded when Discovery Channel launched Man vs. Wild. Millions of people were glued to their screens, watching this seemingly indestructible man drink his own urine, eat pulsating larvae, cross scorching deserts. He became an icon, a real-life superhero, the man who could survive anything. But there was a secret that production kept under lock and key, a secret that, when revealed, would shake everything. In 2008, a survival consultant named Mark Weinert broke the silence and revealed to the world that much of the show was staged. The Polynesian raft that Bear supposedly built alone, it was assembled by the crew, then disassembled so Bear could rebuild it on camera. The wild horses he tried to lasso, they were trained animals rented from a trekking station. The deadly volcano lava, hot coal and smoke machines. And the most devastating revelation. While cameras showed Bear sleeping in improvised shelters in the jungle, he actually spent nights in luxurious hotels with hot tubs. The man who preached extreme survival was sleeping on Egyptian cotton sheets. The controversy exploded like a bomb. Fans felt betrayed. Ray Mears, another survival expert, called Bear a showman, accusing him of putting lives at risk. Discovery Channel and Bear were forced to publicly apologize. They added a warning saying that Bear and the crew received support in potentially life-threatening situations. The aura of authenticity was broken. The superhero had feet of clay. And yet, people kept watching. Because television is entertainment, and Bear Grylls was the best entertainment the genre had to offer. But there's one truth nobody can contest. The pain is real. To this day, Bear Grylls feels pain every day because of the injuries he suffered almost 30 years ago. Treatment includes daily ice therapy to keep him strong. Every extreme adventure he films is done despite constant pain. Every time he jumps from a plane, he has to face the visceral fear of feeling again that moment when his parachute failed. He openly admits he fears the jumps, but he jumps anyway. Because that's the essence of courage. It's not the absence of fear, it's acting despite it. And at home, away from cameras, there's another Bear Grylls, the husband, the father, the man who met his wife Shara on a Scottish beach when she saw him running naked on the sand trying to find his clothes swept away by a wave. They married in 2000. The best marriage advice they received came from a couple married for 50 years who told them to never stop holding hands. And they followed that advice through 25 years of marriage and 3 children, Jessie, Marmaduke, and Huckleberry. A few months after the wedding, Shara's father died. 12 weeks later, Bear's father succumbed to a heart attack. Bear admitted he felt overwhelmed and couldn't talk to Shara because he felt he needed to be strong. For the first time, he faced a problem he couldn't solve through action. It was a moment that could have destroyed his marriage. But Shara stayed, raising 3 boys while her husband climbed mountains and crossed deserts. And here's the revelation few people know. Bear Grylls owns a private island off the Welsh coast. The man who preaches minimalist survival lives on a private property of 20 acres, 5 miles offshore, without electricity or running water. It's a fascinating contradiction. The man who teaches millions to survive with nothing lives on a private island. The man who drinks urine on television goes home. But perhaps it's exactly this contradiction that makes him so human, so imperfect. Because in the end, who is Bear Grylls really? Is he the soldier who broke his spine and refused to give up? Is he the climber who conquered Everest despite unimaginable pain? Is he the TV host who stages situations for entertainment? Is he the man who feels pain every day but keeps jumping from planes? The truth is, he's all these things. He's a construction, a brand, a narrative that mixes truth and fiction in impossible proportions to separate. But there's something undeniable about Bear Grylls. He inspires. Even knowing parts of his shows are staged, people still watch. Because we're not watching to learn precise techniques. We're watching to see someone do the impossible. To see someone who broke their spine climbing the top of the world. To see someone who feels pain every day refusing to stop. We're watching because we need to believe human limits can be overcome. That pain doesn't need to define us. In 2009, Bear became the youngest chief scout of all time in the United Kingdom. Millions of young people look to him as a role model. And Bear's message, despite all controversies, is clear. Don't give up. Never give up. Are you enjoying this story, Wild Bear Grylls? Then help the channel with your subscription. 94.8% of the people who watch these videos are still not subscribed to the channel. If you are part of that group, take the chance and subscribe now. It's free, and that way you'll keep receiving amazing stories from TV shows we still miss. Oh, and don't forget, at the end of the video, you'll find more stories like this one. Even when your body is broken, even when doctors say it's impossible, keep moving, keep surviving. The island disappears into the sea mist, waves keep breaking, wind keeps howling. Somewhere inside that house without electricity, a man wakes up feeling the same pain that has haunted him for 3 decades. And then he gets up, because that's what he does. Every day, despite everything, he gets up and keeps surviving.